everyone, it's Joe here from DRAFT FPL and we are back with another Draft FPL Team Preview video. In particular, we're looking at the fixtures coming up, any potential gems from each team and any players we might want to get shot of. If you enjoy this content, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. I've got 4 teams coming up today. Let's get stuck straight into it. Okay, then the first team we're looking at today is Brighton and Hove Albion. The next 3 fixtures are pretty decent, I'd say. Saints away, Arsenal at home, and then Everton away in 19. The next 5 fixture rank for them is 13th on the ticker. And I think that is mainly due to the Arsenal at home fixture in 18. And they've also got Liverpool at home in game week 20. So the fixtures around those are pretty good. Saints away, Everton away, Leicester away, all okay. But they do have those 2 tough home fixtures. The fixture rank over the next 10 is 8th. And I can say the 5 fixtures after the next 5 are all pretty good. Bournemouth at home, Palace away, Fulham at home, then Newcastle away, West Ham at home. So it's a mixed bag. There are a couple of tough ones in there. Newcastle away is tough. Liverpool at home is pretty tough, and Arsenal at home is pretty tough as well. But the rest all look pretty good. I am expecting Brighton to come back from the restart, all guns blazing. They've had barely anyone go to the World Cup, and it's probably given De Zerbi quite a decent chunk of time to really implement his style of play onto the team. They've not really had a chunk of time since he took over where he could really drill into how he wants to play. I'm expecting Brighton to be classic De Zerbi when they come back, which means very attacking, lots of possession, goals at either end. And you can see from the players that I have gone for, I think the attack is where I'm going to be looking at. Trossard has, he's still performed pretty well, not as well as he did in the first part of the season, but I think he is the pick to go for. I think he's the best attacking option at Brighton without question, and someone I think that's actually going to get better as well. So, Belgium went out early in the World Cup. He's had a decent chunk of time with Brighton before the restart. I think he's a really, really good pick. Mitoma's someone else that I think is really exciting. Did great stuff for Japan when he came on for them. And I think he is a bit of a secret weapon for Brighton. I think it's someone quite exciting. And the last man is Pascal Gross, another attacking midfielder that I think is going to do well for Brighton. Takes the set pieces. We know Pascal Gross by now, but I just think he's gone under the radar a little bit, and I do think he is actually a sneaky good pick, and someone I think is going to improve their output and maybe get close to the levels that he was at the start of the season. On the other end, players I'm kind of steering away for, not necessarily steering away from, but players that I think value might go down a little bit. First up is McAllister. Obviously only ever had the pens anyway, really, so not my favourite pick, and to be honest, someone I'd be looking to ship. Even on waivers, I wouldn't feel bad about getting rid of McAllister, especially as at the time of recording, Argentina looked like they could go quite deep into the World Cup, so he may not even be back for the time being, especially game week 17. I don't see him being back for, so that's him. Next up is the defence in general, really, but I've picked out Sanchez and Dunk just because I think they have the least upside of any of the defenders, really. Webster has a lot more attacking threat than Dunk, it seems, as does Estupinan as well. I think Dunk, he's a really, really good player, but I don't think he's going to be rich with fantasy returns in the near future. I may be wrong. Brighton may still do well defensively. They are a good side, so we could see that happen. But to be honest, I just think I'm going to look to stay away from the defence for the time being, I think. And Sanchez falls under that same category. He's never been amazing on save or bonus points anyway. Not necessarily instantly drop, but someone who I think value is probably only going down. Second team we're looking at then is Chelsea. Chelsea's fixtures are very good. Very, very, very good. The next 3, 17, 18, 19 is Bournemouth at home, Forest away, and then a double game week, City at home, Fulham away. So it's just fantastic, fantastic fixtures. I mean, if you can nail a Chelsea player and they come out firing, you could be absolutely laughing. This is a definite upside play. And the fixtures carry on being really good, to be honest. The next 5 fixture rank is 3, and the next 10 fixture rank is 3 as well. After these 17, 18 and 19, we've got Palace at home. Then their only one of their only tough fixtures, Liverpool away. Then it's Fulham at home, West Ham away, Saints at home. Then they got Spurs away, Leeds at home. So it's a really solid run of fixtures for Chelsea. I wouldn't say I'm hoping, but I think we're going to see a bit of a better version of Chelsea after this break. Potter's had a decent amount of time. It's also almost a mini pre-season to get his ideas flowing through Chelsea. I think when Potter took over, everyone kind of expected Chelsea to go through a bit of a rough period where they took time to adjust to Potter style. But then when it actually happened, when you actually watch it, people think, well, this isn't going to work. But that's what we all expected. We all expected it to take time for Potter style to flow through this Chelsea team and for them to look like a good unit. So why were we then surprised when it actually happened? That's what I kind of think anyway. So I'm still pretty high on Chelsea. I think they'll do all right. I think this run of fixtures comes at a good time for them. And they are a team I think there's value to be had. I think there's a lot of players that are going for dirt cheap on the trade market or even in the waiver pile that could turn out to be decent picks over sort of the rest of the season, really. So on that note, the players I'm looking at, I've gone for Loftus-Cheek, Brozier, Chalobah. These are players that I think are probably going to play. A lot of them are on waivers. Brozier, RLC, not very high roster percentages whatsoever. Brozier's a little bit more punty. They played a friendly today or yesterday, and Brozier and Aubameyang started up front together. I think Brozier's a talented boy and someone that I think Potter quite likes having a big target man, and Brozier can do that job quite well. So I think Brozier is a sneaky under the radar, like pick up and hold and see what happens, because I could seriously see him playing a decent amount of minutes. I've not put them on here, but I'm also very interested in Mason Mount, Havertz, especially. Kind of toying with putting in a couple of trade-offs for Aubameyang as well. I don't love it as much, but I do think there's upside there because his value is basically in the toilet, and I think he's a better player than that. And I think if the system gels, I think he could be a valuable asset. The players on the other end of the spectrum, James and Chilwell, both still not fit yet and are both going to be struggling to make game week 17. And I just think, the more I think about it, they have these injury problems every season, and that should just be factored into their value. I personally ranked James too highly when Potter took over, and even at the start of the season. It's hard to factor in injury persistence because you think, well, if he doesn't get an injury, he's going to be one of the best picks in the league. But he always does, and you have to factor that in. So, yeah, the value is going down for James and Chilwell, in my opinion. Sterling is a bit of a different one. He's going to be he won't have had the same amount of time as some of the other attackers with over the break because he's been away with England. And I just think there's not a clear place for him in the team at the moment. And I think he will start the majority of games, but I don't think it seems like he's not got a position in the team that really suits him. So it's a bit of a worry, I think, as a Sterling owner, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. It could be that, he ends up doing quite well, but I think looking at the first couple of games for Chelsea will be key, and I think it definitely, it's fingers on buzzers time. You've got to wait and see how they line up and move quickly, because I think an upswing in form could be coming. Next up then, we are looking at Palace, and their next 3 fixtures are pretty nice. Palace's fixtures basically start nice and then just get worse and worse. So it's Fulham at home, Bournemouth away in the next 2, which is unbelievably good. Then we've got Tottenham at home in 19, which is not ideal. Then it's Chelsea away. Then it's Newcastle. Then United away. Then they have Liverpool in game week 25. So it is a bit of a tough run. Now, and that reflects, in the fixture rank as well. 11th over the next 5 and then 18th over the next 10. I will say, I think Palace and Zaha in particular don't they don't concern me when the fixtures are bad, because Zaha seems to get way more space against teams that press high, and if you look at his returns, they do not correlate with a fixture rank whatsoever. So I think Zaha is someone I'm actually looking to bring in as the fixtures get tougher. And you know, for people that play FPL, you know, standard FPL as well, you'll know this. The amount of times you bring in Zaha for a good run of fixtures and he does nothing off the back of scoring against Arsenal, City, United. So I'm not too concerned about the fixtures with Palace. I think there are definitely still some good options, and the three I'm looking at, Zaha, Elise, Eze, all the attacking midfield options I think are decent, especially when they're playing on the break. I think the pace of Zaha and the sort of cleverness of Eze really works well when they're counter-attacking. And the players I'm looking, you know, to ship or the value is going down, I think Ayew is probably, his days are numbered at Palace. I just don't think he's got the quality. Plus, you know, he's been at the World Cup. He's not had this period with Vieira to gel. And then the defence as well. You know, as the fixtures do get tougher, we're not going to see a decent return on clean sheets in the tough fixtures, even if Palace do get a couple of goals. So Guehi and Gaeta both suffer from that. Finally then, we have got Everton. Next three is a mixed bag. Wolves at home is great, then it's City away, which is tough, and then Brighton at home, which is pretty good, I'd say. The next 5 fixture rank is really bad, 18, and that, I think that's mainly because of the City away fixture really does skew it quite heavily. You know, Wolves at home is okay, Brighton at home is okay. Then it's Saints at home, which is pretty good. Then West Ham away, which is tough. The next 10 fixture rank is 15th, so still not great. They've also got Arsenal and Liverpool to come in the next 10. So it's not an ideal time to lump on Everton assets, I would say. But there are a couple of players that I'm definitely interested in. I'll put it that way. So let's move on to that now. And the 3 players I've picked out are Maupay, Patterson and Tarkowski. I'll start with Patterson. You know, he's back from injury. I think he's a really, really good player. I think he's, you know, he's got something about him, I think, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few attacking returns come for Patterson. And Everton's defence is pretty good, especially, you know, they've got a few games there, Wolves at home, Brighton at home, Saints at home, where they'll be looking at to try and get clean sheets. So, you know, 3 of the next 4 they'll be targeting. So I do think a defender is a pretty decent shout, and hence why I've got Tarkowski on there as well. And the other one is Maupay, and this is mainly just due to DCL's issues. I read yesterday that DCL is not going to make game week 17. I'm not even sure what the injury is at the moment, and don't take that on gospel, but that's what I've seen. You know, he missed the last game. He missed. He had a shoulder injury, a knee injury, and a hamstring problem, and that just tells me everything I need to know. You know, to miss one game with 3 different injuries is quite something. And I just think no matter how fit DCL looks, there's always a chance that he just misses the next few games. And that is just a player I want to stay well away from, unless I've got an absolutely unbelievable bench and I'm happy to get my auto sub basically any week. I just want to stay away, really. Coleman is another one. Obviously lost his place now to Patterson, who's back, and I've gone for Gray as well. You know, Andros Townsend's back fit now, and Gray's output is mediocre at the best of times. They've also got McNeil playing on the other side. I'm just not convinced with Gray. I've never really have been, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him miss out on the odd occasion. Okay then, that wraps up these 4 teams. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and we will see you next time.